Hey all, we are going to have a live online deep dive session on a specific topic of internet working. And this session is totally free. For the topic, for the timing, please click the link below and register. Since we have already learned enough about Ethernet, let's start building your Ethernet. And in this video, we are going to build the Ethernet using the unshielded twisted pair cable. So there are two parts to it for the UTP, right? We told that unshielded twisted pair is going to use copper, and copper is going to use electrical signals to transmit the data. So for any electrical signal, one of the first thing that it needs is a circuit. So first there should be a way to have a circuit so that from a PC, from two different nodes, when it communicates, whether it be PC to switch or a PC to PC, there should be a circuit that is complete for it to communicate, since it is using electrical signal. And the second part is, once the circuit is complete at the physical layer, how do you send ones and zeros? So let's get into it. Let's get to the first portion, which is how do you create a circuit. So as we already discussed, there are few components for this one. You will have a laptop or a PC. You will have something called as the connector here, wherein on the PC, on the Ethernet card, you will go and plug in your cable. So it will look something like this. You'll get the cable and then you go and plug in inside the Ethernet adapter. Now what happens behind the scene? This is the actual cable, how it actually looks like. When you peel off the top part of that cable, you'll be able to see that inside there are wires. There will be 4 pairs of wire. As you see here, there will be 4 pairs of wires. That means total of 8 wires. Now you may see that it is, as the name suggests, unshielded twisted pair. It is a twisted pair. You may ask why they are twisted. The reason being electromagnetic interference. What that means is when the cable, one of the cable, let's say blue, is actually carrying a signal, and if the other cable is actually not twisted and being parallel to that, what happens is there is something called electromagnetic interference that is actually happening, which means the signal will be distorted. So to avoid that electromagnetic interference, they came up with a idea of twisting the cable, which actually minimizes the electromagnetic interference. So now inside these are how the cables look like. So now let's see how. So let's say that this is a PC. On that there is an Ethernet card to which the RJ45 connector is actually plugged in, and to RJ45 there is a cable. This is how the connectivity is. But if you see, if you do a scan of it, this is how it actually looks like. So there is an RJ45 connector, and you can see at the very top there are 8 pins. And what we do is, this cable, which is having 8 wires, will be pushed inside this RJ45 connector, and using a tool called crimping tool, we actually press it so that these pins at the top of this RJ45 connector gets connected, or gets a slight touch on the coppers that is actually inside these particular wires. So it actually makes a connection by crimping the cable. Now this is a manual process. Of obviously there are mechanical things that it has automated this, but eventually what happens there is basically pressing these pins onto these wires. Now there is a possibility that there is a connectivity actually happening. So now the pins are actually getting is touched to these coppers inside, and then when you go and connect that cable inside this Ethernet LAN or adapter, what happens is the PC, the signal that is actually coming through the wire, the PC will be, or PC or a switch, whatever is there in the node, will be able to consume those signals and take it for the processing at the higher level protocols. Also notice that one will be a the one cable, you can see that internally these all will be connected through a circuit, right? So now we can say that this cable is actually sending the signals to PC1, and then through the next wire it is able to get the signal back here. So this is actually a complete loop now. If you see here, so the wires are actually connected. So wire actually touches the pin here, and this pin goes and then plugs in into the Ethernet card, which actually makes this complete connectivity possible. So that is how we build a circuit.